Hi, it's Maya here today with the intimidating TBR tag. Nobody tagged me to do this, but it's just something I've seen around and I decided it would be fun to do. And also I can't link to the original tag video since that channel is now set to private, but I still know the questions from other people's videos, so I decided to go ahead and do it. And the first question is, what book have you been unable to finish? And I know the irony in this, but it is The Neverending Story by Michael Ende. So yes, I haven't been able to finish The Neverending Story. I have actually read this book as a kid and I have watched the movie so many times as a kid. So this is a story about a normal kid called Bastian who is reading this story called The Neverending Story about this boy called Atreyu who is trying to save the kingdom of Fantasia. And I started to reread this last year and I read it about halfway through. I read it until the part where the first movie ends and I don't know why I stopped. I think I just wasn't feeling it at the time and I wanted to read something different, and then this just got stuck back onto the shelf and I never finished it. I might just continue from the halfway through and to the end of the book since I know the beginning from the movie quite well. The next questions all start, what book have you yet to read because, and then the question. The first one is because you just haven't had the time. And for this I chose Fool's Fate by Robin Hobb. This is also a reread for me, but it's quite big and also I know that it is very heartbreaking for me, so I haven't had the time or the will to put myself through this again, even though I really want to read it. It's a really good book. I know how into the story I will get and how I will not be able to read anything else while I'm reading this, so that's why I've been putting it off. And then Yet to Read because it's a sequel is the third book in the Cecilia and Kate series by Patricia C. Reed and Carolyn Stevermer. And this is the Mislaid Medicine, or 10 Years After. I really like the first story, which is Sorcery and Cecilia, or The Enchanted Chocolate Pot, but I didn't like the second book nearly as much, so I've been hesitant to start this third book. Then what book you haven't read yet because it's brand new? That is Umbria in Shadow by Patricia A. McKillip, which I just found when I went to FinCon, which is this Finnish science fiction and fantasy convention. I went to it a couple of weeks ago, I think 2 weeks ago, and there was a science fiction and fantasy book flea market there, and I picked this up for €1 and it's in really good condition and it's really pretty. And Patricia A. McKillip is actually an author that I've been wanting to try for the longest amount of time, and this is the book that I've been wanting to try, even though I can't now remember what it's about and the cover doesn't say anything. Oh, it says in the first page, because it doesn't have flaps, it says it's about when Umbria's Prince Royce Greve breathes his last in palace rooms high above the city, he leaves his young son and mistress at the mercy of his ancient and powerful great-aunt, Domina Pearl. Meanwhile, in a dreamlike underworld peopled by Umbria's ghosts, a sorceress weaves her spells and brews her potions, never revealing her real face or true heart. And somewhere in between the struggle to rule the whole of Umbria, both its light and shadows, will rest in the hands of those whose fractured lives align like the lost pieces of a magical puzzle. So it sounds quite intriguing. And then a book you haven't read because you read another book from the same author and didn't enjoy it. And that is for me Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson. I've read some okay things from Sanderson, but the last thing I read was Perfect State, which was a novella of his that I really disliked. So I haven't started Steelheart because I really didn't get along with that story, even though I know this is quite different. This is his young adult series about people with superpowers and people without superpowers fighting superpowered people. So I think it would be quite different, but I still haven't been able to start this. Then a book you haven't read because you're just not in the mood for it, and that is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. And this is something that a lot of people love and that my big sister loves. And I think I would like it too, but I just always feel like I'm not in the right mood to read it. So this has sat on my shelf for ever since the second book in the series came out. And the next question is, what haven't you read yet? Because it's humongous. And I picked Red Seas Under Red Skies by Scott Lynch. I quite like the first book in this series called The Lies of Loch Lamora. And this is not that huge. It's a bit over 600 pages. Yeah, almost 630 pages. So I've read longer books, but it's still quite long. And I also have the third book, which is just as long to read. And so I haven't felt like committing. The next question is what I haven't read yet because it was a cover buy that turned out to have poor reviews. And this wasn't actually a cover buy. I couldn't think of a cover buy that would also have had poor reviews. I don't usually pick books just by the cover. If I see a nice cover, I will look the book up in Goodreads and see what it's about. And if it's something I'm interested in, I will pick it up perhaps. But this one is quite close. It is A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. I bought this from Better World Books for about $2 or something. It's a hardcover, it's a huge hardcover. But then I've seen some people's reactions to this, and there are a lot of people who don't like it, so I'm not that keen on starting it, but I still want to read it and try it out for myself, because it sounds like something I would perhaps like, but also like something that could go wrong quite easily for me, so I don't know. And the final question is, what is the most intimidating book on your TBR? And I have on my Kindle Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. I liked Hugo's A Hunchback of Notre Dame, but Les Miserables is huge and very intimidating, and who knows when I'll get around to it, really. This is quite an old tag, so I'm not sure who has done this and who has not, but I quickly went through a couple of channels, and I think these people have not done this tag yet, but if I was wrong and you have, of course, feel free not to do it again. And the people that I'd like to tag are Winks from Winks and Ink and Rachel from Kalanadi. I'd be interested to see what sort of things you have on your TBR. So that was all for today. Let me know in the comments the one most intimidating book on your TBR, and also if you have read some of these books and how you felt about them. If there was something that you feel like I should read right away that you really loved, let me know that as well, and I'll see you in my next video.